Live from the Man Cave, treadmills and tangents with Coach Aaron Cerrone and his army of wellness warriors. Live in discussion of all things health and wellness, along with community topics they happen to stumble upon.
And good morning, Omaha. Welcome back again on another fine Saturday morning here at Treadmills and Tangents. This is Coach coming at you with my wellness warriors, Timmy and Sam. What's up, fellas?
Not much. Good morning, Omaha.
How's your coffee today?
Bulletproof, full of butter and fat, and delicious as always.
Bulletproof.
I don't do the cofefe.
Are you talking about the coffee or yourself?
Absolutely.
The cofefe.
I don't do the cofefe.
Kofifi.
How do you pronounce it? Is it cofefe or cofifi or?
I believe it's kofefe, but I say
believe
kofifi because I think it's funnier.
So do we drink your cofifi today?
Every day, man. At least 1 to 2 cups.
Do you drink Bulletproof every day?
Yeah. Every cup of coffee, unless it's an Americano. Every once in a while, I'll get an Americano with a little bit of cream if I'm running through somewhere. But otherwise, it's every cup of coffee I drink is Bulletproof.
You know, I was talking to Dr. Brad, who was on last week's show, and I was talking to him about caffeine. I was like, Dr. Brad, caffeine good or bad? I'll just kind of leave it open-ended like that. He goes, I'm not going to lie to you. You don't want to see me without my caffeine, right? But obviously anything in moderation. But, you know, I just read some articles like try to stop drinking it after 12 if you want to be able to sleep decent at night. Do you guys use blue blockers? Have you heard of those?
I have heard of them.
I have not used them.
I think I want to try blue blockers. I have trouble sleeping at night, mostly because I stay up too late just working on the computer or doing stuff through my phone. But I know the blue light screws up your circadian rhythm to get to sleep, and it kind of resets you. So I want to try the blue blockers, but I don't want to look like a nerd.
You're in your own house, man. You can do whatever you want.
That's a true statement. I guess it really wouldn't matter what I look like in my house.
Right.
I could sit on the couch in my underwear with my blue blockers on.
Living the dream, man.
With my Superman underwear. I don't have Superman underwear. Do you guys remember Underoos?
Yes, I do remember.
Did you have Underoos?
Oh,
or did you have Garanimals? Were you Underoos?
I had Underoos.
Oh, I was Underoos then, yeah.
I had the Iron Man Underoos. Those were my favorite. But I don't see them anymore.
Underoos are non-existent anymore.
Underoos are fun to wear when you're in your underwear.
Yeah?
Just remember
Good commercials.
Just remember that. You know what? I'm going to Amazon. Get your phone and see if Amazon has Underoos.
But going back to the whole caffeine thing, did you see that, what is it, the FDA put bans on some caffeine?
What do you mean bans? Like, no, you're not
like on big, like, God, after, I just saw it on the news before I was coming over here, like, they didn't, put bans on energy drinks or anything like that, but, like,
the
amounts of caffeine they actually put bans on. They're going to be heavily involved with that now.
There's going to be some energy drinks that are in trouble because they're just loading up on the caffeine for a lot of them. But then you're just going to see like 95,000% worth of B12.
Right.
I was looking at an energy drink in the gym and I picked it up and it said 83,000% of your daily allowance of B12. Like, that's got to be wrong. So I literally looked it up and your daily allowance for B12 is supposed to be 2.5 micrograms.
Oh my gosh.
Right, and this thing had 2,500 micrograms in it. So
holy cow.
I was like, wow, okay. It does work out.
So I should not drink like six drinks when we go to the fights in Des Moines and I'm trying to...
Well, especially not if you're also drinking your cofefe.
True. I don't drink that stuff in the hotel though. Me.
With the coffee? Or
the coffee.
Are you a coffee snob now?
Well, I mean, I can't. What am I supposed to bring? My butter and my cream and some kind of small wand to stir my...
I'm convinced, like, if I put Folgers and Maxwell House and some high-end coffee in front of most people, they can't tell the difference.
I'm not a snob that way, but I want my butter and my cream, and I want it blended the way I like it.
All right, fair enough.
Right.
You want your coffee sexy.
Right, exactly. Like, I had somebody at the gym the other day.
Do you want it sexy or do you want it damn sexy?
Right. Damn sexy, obviously. And so somebody brought in this donut shop coffee things, and she's like, I don't like these. I'm like, well, by the time I put my butter and stuff in it, it doesn't matter at that point anymore to me. They all taste
the coffee's just the backstory then.
Right. Yeah. It's all about that delicious Kerrygold and a little bit of heavy whipping cream. And
I still haven't used the Kerrygold, but it'll work. Sam's handing me something. Okay.
They have men's Underoos on Amazon.
Oh, men's
Those are men's Underoos.
Star Wars Boba Fett Underoos. Aquaman Underoos. There's still there's Despicable Me. If you get
Aquaman Underoos, you're doing push-ups.
These are seriously in the men's section.
The men's, yes. They got boys. They got women's too now.
There's Captain Marvel and Captain America.
Okay, now you're talking my style.
Actually,
Tim's all about that Captain America.
Wow. All right. He-Man.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I can get behind some He-Man.
I might. That might be my present to myself. I might give me some underoos.
Some blue blockers and some underoos.
Some blue blockers and some underoos, and I'll be sitting on my couch and I'll sleep nicely.
The Amazon package is going to come in, and your wife's going to open it and be like, do we need to talk about something? What's going on here?
Nope.
No, we don't. Thank you.
It's my house. I do what I want.
She listens to the show, I'm sure, so she's probably going to just start waiting for the package to show up.
She might see blue blockers and underoos.
Right. She won't be surprised.
Blame it on my kids. Oh, it's my kids.
Right.
Christmas. So Timmy was checking out what's going on the Twitter, and it looks like one of the things trending is pesticides on our produce, right? And I think we all know that pesticides get used on produce, and unless it's organic, and even then, it's subject to interpretation what organic is and whether or not there's pesticides being used. But we found that an article that said the Dirty Dozen of 2018, number one on the list is strawberries.
Yeah, which not a surprise. And on here it says that one of them had 22 separate pesticide residues on one strawberry, which is crazy.
A third of all samples had at least 10 pesticides on the strawberries. So, and we're going to talk about maybe how to get rid of that a little bit more. What's number two? Number two is, Popeye. Spinach is number two. Spinach second spot this year. Relatively high concentrations of neurotoxic or brain-damaging insecticide.
97% of the spinach samples contain pesticide residues. 97%.
Which, it's going to be all fruits and vegetables that you would eat raw, in which the pesticides are probably going to have the highest concentrations, more than likely. Which the skin's being eaten, is what I'm saying. Skin. All right, what's next? Nectarines. I don't like nectarines anyway, so I'm not too worried about nectarines.
Every once in a while.
But 94% tested showed at least 15 separate pesticides.
That's insane.
Apples were number 4. I knew apples had high concentrations because you're eating the skin. 9 out of every 10 apples showed pesticide residue. 8 out of every 10 contained a pesticide banned in Europe due to the belief that it caused cancer. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
apples.
That's great. That's
grapes. Number 5 on the list.
Number 5, yeah.
5 pesticides residue, which I'm not a big fan of eating grapes anyway. They're just sugar pills.
Right.
So grapes.
Yeah.
People, if you think you're eating grapes and staying healthy, you're not.
No.
You're not. Grapes.
It's one of those things that, you eat these and they're good for you, and no.
I ate grapes all day. I should be fine. Well,
You're eating a soft, juicy jelly bean, man.
Jelly beans are much more fun, though.
Yeah.
Peaches is next.
Peaches is 6 on the list? It looks like cranberries is rolling up on 7. No, cherries.
Oh, cherries, yeah.
Cherries, which I love cherries.
I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
Oh, black cherries. When I was growing up in Pennsylvania, I grew up in a little town called Neffs, and my best friend at the time, Steven, they had a cherry tree in their backyard and a grapevine.
Ooh.
We would eat till we got sick. And then at my
Did you
house,
hear it through the grapevine?
my neighbor, but they were the big Concord grapes, the big dark ones. Oh, they're awesome. But you're playing Russian roulette because when there's a grapevine and cherry trees, there are lots of bees.
Oh,
yep, you gotta be careful.
You get stung quite a bit
all the time.
Was it worth it though?
So here's a funny story. Where I lived, my house, my neighbors had crabapple trees. Well, being dumb kids, we were like, oh, mini apples, let's eat them. Do not eat handfuls of crab apples.
Yeah.
You will get sick.
Yeah. We had
They're delicious at the time, not so much later on. In
our backyard when I was younger, when we lived in Idaho, we had a crabapple tree in the backyard. So we started turning them into, we would take them off and hit them with the tennis racket out into the field.
They'll go for miles.
Yeah, where little prairie dogs would go pick them up and take off with them. It was pretty great.
Nice. Then they had the bellyache.
Right.
What's next? Pears had high concentrations, and tomatoes are coming in at 9. What do we have? 10 is celery. Celery, really. And 95% of the samples contain 13 pesticides on a single
sample.
Potatoes coming in next. And then rounding it out are bell peppers, which that's a bummer. I love me some bell peppers. Which, if you look at all of those on the list, those are all vegetables in which you would eat the skin.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't peel them, except for maybe potatoes. Potentially eat the skin. So really what needs to happen is you need to figure out how to wash your produce thoroughly. And you can't rely on the supermarket. Those shysters at Hy-Vee may not wash it well enough. But really, because what happens is it's really not even Hy-Vee. It's the producers, right? It's who they're getting it from, and they wash it just enough to get the dirt off of it and make it look presentable, package it, and send it off in crates.
But then you got how many hands touching it too within that period of time. So
you're not worried about pesticides at that point. You're
no, but I mean, you got to think about that as well.
Where they were putting their hands prior to touching your produce.
Woo! Did just come from a food safety class, so you got to think about those things.
So we found an article, 7 myths about washing your produce, right? And the first one is you need a fancy produce washer. So those are out there. You see them, almost every supermarket has them. You dump it in your water and it does magically takes the pesticides off better. When I worked at my dad's restaurant, we had stuff we would put in the water to keep things fresh and crisp longer.
Yep. Sure. We have that stuff.
Yeah, but really didn't do anything for taking the pesticides off.
Yeah, this actually says tap water does as good of a job, if not better, than these fancy produce washes.
That is just up to 98% of the bacteria.
Well, you got to figure out if you're putting something in the water and then rinsing your vegetable, what else are you putting on the vegetable potentially?
Sure.
Or the fruit.
Right.
If it's not clean water, there's that residue is getting on your vegetables as well. What's the next one? You don't have to wash organic produce, meaning you do have to wash organic produce.
Right.
Right. And that goes back to how you define the term organic. And this says organic farmers go to great lengths to produce safe, but consider that every person is, again, touching it where their hands end up on just like you said.
Right.
They're not immune to being touched and transported and stuff getting on them.
Or in other stores, are they next to things that have been contaminated?
Just contamination in general.
Sure. Homegrown produce, you don't have to rinse. Yeah, so I mean, I grow a big garden every year, but we still rinse the stuff, and I don't use pesticides at all. But that doesn't mean that, like, through rain, if the field next to you is getting sprayed, that potentially gets on your stuff.
Or animals even just walking through. I mean,
animals walking through can contaminate the produce.
Yeah,
right. Animal feces, while it's a great fertilizer, can also contaminate your food at the same time. That's why you have to be careful. That's why they say it can be too quote unquote hot. Right. It can actually kill the plants and the produce if you're not careful. Pre-washed lettuce, triple washed, and pre-washed lettuce is very safe. You can rewash it. So lettuce is actually safe. Lettuce gets washed pretty well. You have to peel all vegetables with skins. You don't have to do that, is what it's really getting to. You should wash produce as soon as you get it home. Well, I think that's just good habit.
Right.
Wash it as soon as you can get it. It says bacteria can grow while you store your produce, so it's best to wash it right before you use it. Why not wash it as soon as you get it, put it in your fridge and store it, then wash it again before you use it, which I do that anyway.
It does say that washing it right when you get home from the store can make it spoil faster, so that would just be something.
Well, that's because you are making it wet,
right?
And that can cause mold, that can cause bacteria. A lot of produce, you got to adjust your humidity control. If you're not careful, you can make things spoil pretty quick. So you always got to play with that. Mold is the end of the world. If fruit or veggie was totally succumb to mold, throw it away. Not that you'd want to eat mold anyway.
Or a fuzzy avocado, it says, which...
I don't know. Why do we got to ostricize a fuzzy avocado?
If you eat it, you let me know how it goes.
It might have been cold.
Well, that's true. Maybe it grew a little winter coat.
If you see a small section of mold on a hard, dense fruit, it's easy to salvage. Just cut it away, which a lot of people don't do that. They think if they see mold anywhere, the whole thing's shot, which that's not how mold works. It's just wherever it's at, you can cut it off.
Right.
I used to do that on my bread when I was a kid. Yeah. See mold on the bread.
I would do that for bread. Now I've gotten in a habit of, if I see mold, a little bit of mold on bread, that means I'm sure there's more that I'm not seeing, so I chuck the whole thing. But on like cheese and stuff like that, I'll cut it off. Do a quick inspection and cut it off. So at the end of the day, guys, wash it. Just tap water. Clean tap water. Wash it. I got a little scrubber that I'll use and just scrub it down just to be safe. And then especially wash it right before you cook it.
Yeah, I do some of the meals that we get just sent to our house every week. We use one of those programs just because it's easy and instead of meal prep and everything. And the first thing, every card, he sends you a recipe card. Sure wash and dry all produce. Step one on every one of them.
Do you eat potatoes with or without the skin?
Without.
I do not eat potatoes anymore.
Oh, that's right.
Now, I do eat some French fries every once in a while. And I eat them however they come.
And what are they made of? Are you kidding me?
They're made of, they're from France. I don't know what they're made of.
They're from France.
So it's rare that I eat them.
I love French fries with the skin still on it.
Oh.
I like mashed potatoes that way. Like mashed potatoes.
Those would be smashed potatoes.
Yeah, just so good. Smashed potatoes. Yeah.
But then you really should scrub it down because now you're just potentially eating dirt.
Right.
If you're not careful.
I can't.
Hey, God made dirt. Dirt don't hurt.
So Sam, when you eat a baked potato, do you eat the whole thing or you just gut the inside?
Just gut the inside. I'm not a big fan of the skin.
Why not?
It's because they get that dirt taste.
But that's where all the minerals and vitamins are.
I know. I just can't do it.
That's why you weigh more than me. You don't eat your minerals.
Oh, we're gonna start throwing that out.
Don't eat your minerals, I guess.
So that comment, everybody, if you haven't been following us, Tim has lost a significant amount of weight in the last year, and much to Sam's chagrin, Tim weighs less than Sam now.
And it was by 0.1.
And at one point, they were the equivalent of modern day Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah.
Right.
It was literally, I got on the scale.
And now they're just the two stooges.
I weighed and then he jumped on and it was 0.1. I'm like, wow, what you been eating, buddy? Like, you getting a little showy over here.
So Sam's now the fat kid of the group.
I'm fat one of the group.
Actually, I weigh more than both of you at this point. So
I'm not calling you fat. I'm not.
Double thumbs up for both of you right there.
I'm trying to go an episode without having to do push-ups.
Okay, guys, we're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents right here on The Answer, 94.5 FM, 1420 AM. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents. I'm Coach here with you today. I'm happy to have Dr. Lee Sleightholm here. He is a cancer researcher and drug developer over at UNMC Medical Center, and he's also in med school, finishing up here. He's going to have his doctorate here in a couple of years. But Lee, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Coach, for having me.
We're gonna talk cancer today, and you are the cancer expert. And I just want to know, cancer scares a lot of people, and rightfully so. But more importantly, it's just a lot of unknown around cancer, and a lot of people don't even, essentially we still don't even know how we get it, how to stop it. Has there been any advances in research? Well, obviously there's advances in research, but do we know better what causes it? Like, what causes cancer?
By and large, cancer is a random process. It's just something that, like a car, I hate to use this analogy, but your body's kind of like a car, right? Like random parts on a car break down. Just like in your body, random parts in your body will break down. By and large, your body has several mechanisms to repair itself, but unfortunately, sometimes it just goes awry. So most of the time, it's completely random. Now, there are what we like to call exposures, things like smoking, smog, stuff you have in your diet, and some places have poor drinking water. Those things will contribute to increasing the risk of having cancer. So there's, by and large, it's a random process, but we do know of several exposures that will increase your risk to a variety of different cancers.
So we know, the jury's out on smoking, and that no doubt smoking causes cancer. Why people still do it still amazes me to this day, but we know smoking causes cancer. What are some other things that people may not be aware of that are like, hey, we know pretty definitively are precursors to it?
Before I touch on that, I think the best thing can be said about moderation. Almost everything is okay in moderation. Your body can heal from a night of drinking as long as it's not several nights over and over again. When you do that, that's when you predispose yourself to pancreatic or liver cancer. Like if you diet's a great one. You should have a healthy, well-balanced diet full of fruits and vegetables. Be moderate in the meats that you eat. Sitting down every night and having a very large portion of meat increases your risk of colon cancer. Why that is, we're not entirely sure. We think like some of the byproducts of you trying to digest all the meat just kind of stays in the colon because you don't absorb all of it. And then that will increase your risk of colon cancer. Specifically, more red meats is what they're showing. I think they even labeled steak or red meat as a carcinogen here lately.
At this point, yep.
I think that's kind of silly because we're getting to the point now, like coffee too, we're labeling as a carcinogen. Have you heard about that?
Now, is that just you think a knee-jerk reaction to, we don't know for sure, so we'll label it, if nothing else, better safe than sorry?
Absolutely. I tried looking into that study, and I didn't really see anything that was very conclusive that really showed that coffee increased your chances of cancer. In fact, I think a few years back, they had a study that showed that coffee decreased your chances of cancer. I think it's all moderation. If you drink a bunch of it, probably not good for you. If you eat a lot of the same thing, probably not good for you.
So anything in excess can bite you in the butt, essentially, at some point.
Especially in the day and age we live in where food is very readily available for people and it's reasonably cheap. People tend to gorge and overfill, especially on very high carbohydrate diets. obesity is a huge issue. And we know that being overweight and obese substantially increases your risk of a variety of different cancers. So that's an issue too. People don't realize that having that extra fat will actually increase your estrogen levels. So that can predispose you to certain types of cancer as well, breast cancer particularly.
In men, we're talking, right? Surprisingly.
Both, female and male. So I think a lot can be said about a life of moderation.
And for those of you listening, Lee had mentioned studies. Anytime I see a study, he's usually the person I send it to, and I'll just send a quick note. Dr. Lee, what do you think? And I sent you one a couple of days ago about hydrogen peroxide potentially preventing cancer. And you actually said, I haven't gotten that good of a laugh in a while. And then I posted that it was bunk. What you said after that was interesting to me. You had said, I don't think there's one sentence backed by science in this whole article.
Unfortunately, I think this is becoming a huge issue today where people have the internet or sources of social media that they can go on and post their opinion of things, and people will look it up, they'll find it, and they'll believe it to be hard science, especially somebody that's really eloquent in their writing or their rhetoric. They'll convince people that what they're saying is true and hard fact. Anytime you read something, I always urge people to go and research it, look it up. Don't just look up one or two things. Be very thorough about your research into it. And this, I think, holds true for any time you go to a doctor. If a doctor says you have something, if you're somewhat skeptical, research it, look it up. Only doctors that I know who will not value a second opinion are those that have an ego problem. So if you think that they made a mistake, doctors are human too. Maybe they missed something. Get a second opinion or a third opinion. Maybe there's something that will stand out to another physician and say, hey, actually, you know what? I believe it's this. Your white blood cell count is out of whack. Like, it really looks like it could potentially be this. Valuing a second opinion is something to be said too. So don't just stop at one article or one person's opinion. Do your research and your homework into it. But unfortunately, like I said, I think people with the ability to post these things are really doing a lot of harm. Hydrogen peroxide actually causes free radicals and can induce cancer. So that is almost the complete opposite.
So what that article is saying. And a lot of times those articles are just using correlation, right? And correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation. Absolutely. But by that logic, we could say water causes cancer because every cancer patient drank water at some point.
Sure. You're absolutely right. So it's hard I don't know what to say about, I'm trying to be polite about articles like that, but they really kind of tee me off,
Well, you're in the field. You're actively researching. Speaking of which, we were talking one day, and I'd asked you, how comes we haven't figured out how to cure cancer? And you made a statement, well, we've actually cured it like 10 times over in mice, like every cancer we've cured. But that confuses a lot of people because they don't understand, well, if we can cure it in mice, why can't we cure it in humans? Can you speak to that for a second? Like, what happens when we try to transfer that particular protocol or treatment that, hey, all right, we knocked it out in mice, but it's not being realized inside of humans?
Yeah, so I'll kind of reemphasize just what you said. In the science realm, we use animal models, typically mouse, because they're logistically feasible. They're small, easy to house. The price of them are very low to feed to water every day. So it's our starting models for a lot of these cancers. And we have probably cured cancer 10 times over, every type of cancer 10 times over in mice. The problem is that translation from mice to humans. Either we're using a model where we've given a human cancer to mice, and then in doing so, that mouse has to have a lack of an immune system. Now, that's not really equivalent to humans, right? We have an immune system, and what we know is that the immune system plays a critical role in not only fighting cancer, but unfortunately, sometimes it helps to allow the cancer to grow. In pancreatic cancer, the immune cells actually comprise probably about 50% of the actual cellular components of a tumor, whereas you typically would think the tumor is made up of just cancer cells. About half of it is like stroma or not even cells, and the other half is probably, or of the cellular component, is your immune system. Unfortunately, the immune system fights it in such a way that it's actually beneficial for the cancer. So in those sense, we can't recapitulate that in mice. So giving drugs or something like that to see how that would work, it still eludes us today. So not only that, but there's small changes in mice. There's slight differences in mice between humans, differences in, skeletal muscle makeup, different proteins. The distribution of drugs might actually be different in a mouse than human. What I mean by that is when we give a drug or a chemotherapeutic to a patient, we often think that chemotherapeutic goes to the cancer cells in a high proportion. We know that it doesn't go 100%, right? Because cancer patients get sick from the chemo. So some of the time, the healthy cells are hit by the chemo drugs, which are very toxic. Now, the actual percentage that actually goes to tumor cells is very low. It's almost like 5%. So a vast majority is actually going to healthy cells, or we excrete them, we pee them out, we poop them out, we metabolize them, and it goes to different tissues. Now, that ability to metabolize or that drug to go to certain tissues or to tumors is going to be different in mice than in humans, unfortunately. So we miss that connection with drug distribution. There's several differences that we just can't recapitulate in an animal model.
And we're here with Dr. Lee Sleightholm talking about cancer and how to prevent it and things that are going on in the research world. So Lee, what do you think it'll take, and I guess in your opinion, how close are we to actually finding that cure in humans? Obviously the utopian would be a shot everyone gets, no more cancer in the world. But cancers are so different, and they affect the body in so many different ways. Sure. We'll probably never come to a single shot, I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't think so. Every cancer is different, and it's so different enough that we have to create different drugs, different protocols. Radiation therapy might be good in some cancers, and in other cancers it's completely non-effective. So every cancer is very different. And on top of that, every person is different. Every person will... Let me use this analogy. When you guys go out and drink, some people can drink more than others, right? So that's the same thing with chemotherapeutics. Some people can tolerate drugs better than others, or the drug will go to the tumor more effectively than say, the GI system. A lot of the times people have issues with GI problems after receiving chemotherapeutics, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, that sort. So there's differences at the individual level that also highly contribute to the effectiveness or ineffectiveness of therapeutics. So each cancer, we're trying to do our best in individualizing or creating medicines based on individualized or an individual level, but also the cancers are vastly different. Right. So that's really hindering our ability to rapidly come up with better drugs. Now, I think time and money is going to be the limiting factor. It's just going to take patience and time. But we're also having an issue with the funding right now for cancer drugs. A lot's been cut in the past 2-3 years.
In terms of research?
Yeah, in terms of research. So we've created, they call it, I think, a moonshot initiative or something like that at the National Cancer Institute that's supposed to pump a bunch of money into trying to come up with cures or advancing cancer research. But unfortunately, they've withdrew a lot of funding, and right now the funding rate is really low for scientists. So it's really hard for them to get the funds they need to perform the research they need in order to advance the medicine.
To make those breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And again, we're here with Dr. Lee Sleightholm talking cancer today. What should people be doing? And obviously, annual checkups are good. And there's so many different types of cancers. When you hit the age of 40, 50, you should start getting your prostate checked. I think they've actually pushed that off now. It used to be 40 now. I think it's back to 50. What should people be doing on a regular basis, do you think? I personally go get a full blood workup every 2 years now, ever since I turned 40, just because I like to know, hey, what's going on? And is there something out of the ordinary that might catch somebody's eye that they normally wouldn't look for? Sure. What would you recommend people doing just to, I don't want people to be paranoid about cancer, but are there some basics we could be doing above just our annual checkup to keep an eye out for it?
I think that's a great one, actually. We'll start with that, is the annual checkups. A lot of people fail to hit those, and those can actually identify cancers very early on. And the earlier you catch it, the better you are, right? That's the truth with any disease. Regular annual screenings are good. And even if you have cancer, unfortunately, some of the patients we say fall off the bandwagon, right? So they stop being screened after so many years. Breast cancer, we want to follow them every so often. And then after 5 years, we see this dropout of patients. They think, oh, I'm fine. It's been 5 years, nothing's come up. So then they stop coming and getting their screens. And then 2 years after that, they're widely metastatic now. And had they just been continuing to follow up, maybe we would have caught that, and maybe we could have made a better difference or got them on something sooner. So getting that annual screening, I think, is a great start. Also, we touched on living a life of moderation. I think can be very helpful. Limit the amount that you drink. I'm not saying, having a glass of wine or a beer once a night is good. We often ask, do you drink? Yes. How often? Every night? How much? Well, one drink a night. Then we have to ask, what's one drink? The one person it's a glass of wine, another person it's a fishbowl of tequila, right? So
neither of us have ever done that.
Right, no, yeah. Well, so when I say one drink at night or one glass a night, I do mean in the regular sense, one beer, one reasonable sized portion of alcohol. That can reduce the stress a little bit. There's some levels or some things at the cellular level we're seeing that maybe one drink a night can actually disrupt the cancer causing process. So I think that's good in that sense as well. Not eating a massive amount of meats in one sitting. Spread it out throughout the day. If you're very active, you work out a lot, you need that protein to rebuild those muscles. Fine. Try to get that protein in throughout the day and not just in one or two main meals. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Sugar. And my understanding is in the lab, you guys actually keep cancer cells alive with a glucose strip, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. How bad is sugar for us? I mean, sugar, in my opinion, sugar's the devil. Sure. But in terms of being a generator for cancer, is sugar really as toxic as it can be made out to be?
So that's a trick question, right? So the answer is both yes.
By design.
Yeah. So you're right. So we grow cancer cells in petri dishes and flasks and stuff in the lab, and we use glucose instead of fats to do that. You're absolutely right. In the body, though, you maintain a glucose level that's fairly in a regular narrow range. Unless you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, then your glucose starts to go up, or you have some other issues where your glucose is going down. Too low of glucose, you pass out. Even lower than that, you die, right? Some people actually overdose on their insulin and their blood glucose dips so low their brain can't function, they die. So there is a necessary window, and your body is great at regulating that window. I think for you, you're very healthy. You don't have diabetes that I know of. Your blood glucose is going to stay in a very narrow range, no matter if you eat 10 bowls of ice cream or you have a kale salad. So it's not necessarily bad in that sense. Now, your body will make insulin and other proteins or growth factors that will regulate or keep the glucose at a normal level, and those can actually contribute to growth of cancer. So insulin and insulin-like growth factor can actually promote tumorigenesis or the growth of cancer cells, and that so indirectly sugar can be bad.
So is that because they're both very anabolic hormones?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, in that sense, it's bad. Now you do need carbohydrates, I think, but it's all in moderation. You shouldn't just sit down and have 10 bowls of ice cream or a giant 1 gallon thing of fruit juice. I think that's bad too. In moderation, I think carbohydrates are okay. Sugars are fine. Complex one, the only difference between basic and complex are how fast your body's going to absorb them. If they're complex, you have to break them down, so your blood levels won't spike as quickly, right? You don't see that huge peak and then trough. You see more of a gradual increase slope.
So a high sugar diet necessarily doesn't predispose me to any high risk of cancer necessarily.
I think a continued high glucose diet will.
Okay, it's the aggregate we're talking about.
So what I meant was just, 1 or 2 sittings isn't bad.
Yep.
A continual day in, day out of high glucose, yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to
That goes back to your comment about moderation.
Yeah.
Okay, everything in moderation.
And then having a diet like that's going to lead to obesity, and we know that obesity is a risk factor.
So it's that cascade effect that starts to happen.
And now we don't know if, again, you hit the nail on the head. Is it correlation or is it causation? Is obesity truly contributing to cancer, or is it the fact that obese people are behaving in other mannerisms that are leading to cancer? Do they eat other bad things all the time? Are they scarfing down hot dogs too? Those nitrosamines. Are they smoking? Are they chewing? Are they engaging in risk factors in their life that will contribute to cancer? So correlation again versus causation.
Awesome. Well, Lee, thanks a lot. And that's already 20 minutes for us. I appreciate your time. Look forward to having more conversation. And again, Lee Sleightholm, researcher over at UNMC. He's one of our go-to sources for when I question something and want to bounce it off the experts, and he tells me it's bunk. And I turn around and tell you guys it is such. And I think I do it more out of his entertainment than anything when I send him the stuff. But Lee, thanks a lot, buddy.
Absolutely.
And we'll be right back after this. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents right here on The Answer, 94.5 FM, 1420 AM. Welcome back, everybody, to Treadmills and Tangents. Again, Coach coming at you here this Saturday morning. Guys, we're going to take a fitness personality quiz.
Ooh.
What do you think your fitness personality is? Do you have a personality?
He's probably got the biggest one.
Judging by the look on your face, I'm guessing your personality right now.
Awesome.
Oh,
That's
just
there you go.
awesomeness.
Blanket statement.
You be quiet with your kofefe over there. Okay, guys, we're going to take a quiz. This is a fitness personality. This is just a random quiz I found online. You answer 7 questions here, and then based on your answers, we will decide what type of fitness personality each of you have. So number 1, my friends and family would best describe me as A, detail-oriented, methodical, and somewhat reserved. B, brutally honest, competitive, extremely focused. C, good-natured, social, easygoing. D, ambitious, energetic, and impulsive.
Are we doing this at the same time, or are we going to do one and then the other?
Well, it's not a competition.
Mine would be C.
Mine would be D.
So remember that. Remember your answers. Number 2, I would describe my approach to exercise as a solo endeavor. A. B, goal-oriented. I'm committed to setting goals and reaching my goals. C, a social affair. I prefer to ask around and find out what other people are going to do. Those are the people rubbernecking in the gym when they're at the fitness. Look at me in my spandex outfit. Anyway, D, spur of the moment. I try not to set a plan. I just get over there. I get bored easy. I just start working out. So A, a solo endeavor. B, goal-oriented. C, a social affair. Or D, spur of the moment.
Mine would be B.
B is for me as well, yeah.
B, both goal-oriented. Okay. Number 3, when a new fitness class or trend comes out, I find myself A, a bit skeptical as to whether or not it'll actually provide any real results. B, willing to consider trying it if it's convenient for me and will help me reach some goals. C, curious to know what other people's experiences have been like. And if they say it's fun and easy to follow, I'll give it a shot. D, eager and willing to try just about anything once.
I think I would go with D.
I'm more C.
Number 4, the 2 words that best describe my ideal workout are A, predictable and trusted. B, competitive and challenging. C, fun and social. D, new and exciting.
I'd probably be more B.
What was B again?
Yeah, wait, B. What?
B is competitive.
Competitive and challenging.
And A was
Predictable and trusted.
mine would probably be B also.
Competitive and challenging?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5, when it comes to exercise motivation, I find that mine stems from A, knowing the hows and whys behind what I'm doing, the health benefits that it will provide. B, competing against myself and others, knowing that if I stick with it and work hard, I'll reach my goals. C, enjoying the workout experience and feeling good about myself and having fun and meeting new friends at the same time. D, wanting to lose weight and look great. Why is that so funny?
I'm just thinking of Tim on that one.
I was thinking B for myself, but
you were
maybe.
you were thinking underoos again, weren't you?
Yeah.
It comes back to- Anyway, when it comes to the motivation, D, wanting to lose weight and look great, rewarding myself for sticking to the program.
That's all part of D?
That's all
Oh,
part
yeah,
of
I'm D then.
wanting to lose weight and look great. It is bathing suit season coming up.
Hey, man, I got that Speedo on order.
Speedo.
Speed don't.
What was A and
Please
B
don't.
again?
Oh,
Knowing the
no.
hows and whys behind what I'm doing is A, and B is competing against myself or others.
I would say probably B.
Okay. 6, when it comes to the level of knowledge of fitness, I would describe myself as well-informed. B, highly educated. How is that different?
Yeah.
Well-informed. I'm constantly reading and fitness articles and research. B, highly educated. I stay on top of fitness trends, know all there is to know. C, intrigued. D, uninterested.
I'd say A.
I think I'm A also.
Well-informed. Okay.
Yeah.
Last one, 7. If you had to choose one type of physical activity to engage in, it would be A, a research-supported workout program consisting of tried and true exercises. B, a competitive event such as a half marathon, triathlon, or obstacle course. C, a fun group fitness class taught by really motivating instructors, aka myself. Or D, jeez. And why did you laugh at that? Am I not motivating?
No, you are.
All right.
You are.
Am I not motivated? No, you're good. You're good.
Or D, a new workout program that promises to produce fast results, even though it might be a little unconventional. C, that would be the pole dancing workout.
I'd probably be C.
C, a fun group fitness class taught by a motivating instructor. Okay, so here's the deal. Based on those 7 questions, if you answered mostly A's, which you guys did not, A's are a decision maker. As a creature of habit, you tend to stick with the activities you're familiar with and comfortable with. You tend to prefer workout on your own opposed to with a group. You need to try branching out, it says, and let science expand your horizons. If you answered mostly B's, right, you're a goal setter, competitive by nature, both against yourself and others. You're committed to setting goals and getting to them and getting the results you want. You're not afraid to put in the hard work. Tips for branching out. Seek expert advice. While you know a lot about fitness, there's always more to learn. Be a role model. Since you are goal-oriented and motivated, help others do the same. If you answered mostly C's, you're the fun seeker. It's all about the social experience and having fun. It's not so much about the workout and the what you get out of it. It's about going with the flow and the attitude. You love being around energetic people. Tips for branching out. Get serious about goal setting, as those people tend to not be so much about the goals. It's more about the experience. And then identify credible sources for health and fitness information so you can learn a little more. And then if you mostly answer D's, you're a risk taker. Passion for adventure and an infectious personality.
That's me.
Yeah, that's him.
Did you answer mostly D's?
Mm-hmm. Mine's split. I'm B and C.
3 on each for him.
3 on each.
I had 3 of the D's.
So you're a goal setter that tends to have a little fun.
Yeah.
So you're a mullet, dude. Business in the front, party in the back. The mullet. Which is funny because he's bald as all.
He's been bald since he was like 7.
Nice.
That's great.
So as a risk taker, your tips for branching out, get hooked on a feeling. I'm hooked on a feeling.
Good tune.
And remember that knowledge is power.
Ooh, that's good.
Excellent. So that's from a website, Jessica Matthews, who put that on there to help us decide what our fitness personality is. I'm not sure what I would be. I think I'd be a mix of all of those. But I don't know.
I had some of every one. I had an answer in every.
I probably have multiple personality issue. I'm all over the place on some of those.
That seemed pretty accurate, though.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, but I think it's fun to go with the flow sometimes and just try something new and have fun with it. It's also fun to have old reliable that you can just look. I don't want to think about it. I just want to go in and get it done and have somebody lead the class, which is what I think is very beneficial for trainers sometimes. Like, dude, just tell me what to do.
Right.
I just want to do it and not think about it.
Yeah.
So and there's a time and a place for all of them. And I think you should kind of move in and out of all those because variety is the spice of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I agree. If you're not trying something different, you have to do new things to keep your body guessing. Your body's always trying to adapt, right? It's the homeostatic state. So if you're not doing new things to it, it's never going to adapt. So in reality, if you want to continue getting healthier and continue getting more fit, you should be moving in and out of these personalities a little bit or these approaches to fitness. Fellas, I think there's a vibe in the air.
Yeah,
there's always a vibe in there, but
What?
Where you at?
There you go.
Little PB&J always puts a smile on your face.
Absolutely.
So last episode, everybody, we were talking about sun butter. I keep wanting to say nut butter, but it's sun butter. And I called BS on it because I said there's no such thing as sun butter. But come to find out, there is sun butter. And we have sun butter, sunflower butter here. And I can't even tell what's the brand of this.
Sun butter.
Oh, That's is sun
brand.
butter. Sun butter is the brand. Yeah. It's sun butter by
Sun Butter.
And you can find this at your local Hy-Vee. Not the one on Maple, because there isn't one there.
There is one on Maple. 156 in Maple.
Sam's not at that one.
I'm just not at that one.
Oh, whatever.
He's not.
Is there really one on Maple?
Yeah, 156 Maple.
I think there's one on every major street.
You yelled at me for saying Maple every time, and there actually is one on Maple.
There is.
I was right.
But you kept saying
do some push-ups.
No, you kept saying that's the one I was at though.
Okay.
Semantics.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Semantics.
Words have meaning, and I'll give him that. So we have Sun Brother.
I know he was so
it's
sensitive.
peanut free, which is cool because if you have a peanut allergy. So Sun Butter has 17 grams of fat per serving, which is 2 tablespoons, 7 grams of carbs, and 7 grams of protein. So it's a pretty well-rounded meal, to be quite honest. If you're going to say meal. But I'm going to taste Sun Butter. Have you guys tasted it yet?
I haven't. No.
Dude, it's a bizarre consistency.
It is.
You know what it looks like? It looks like pudding. Like, remember the pudding packs?
Oh,
There better be a pudding pack.
Better be my
I love
snack
it.
pack.
Snack
I
pack.
thought I thought I was your
That's
snack
the
pack.
consistency it has. It's kind of that's weird. Like I'm big on texture and consistency on my food, but it's kind of bizarre.
You know what it looks like? Wet dog food.
Wet dog food. It tastes like I don't know what it tastes like.
I'm trying to.
I almost said it tastes like peanut butter.
It tastes like
but I
a
checked
whole
myself.
mouthful of sunflower seeds.
It does.
Like at the end of sunflower seeds, you get that dust a little bit, off the sunflower seeds at the bottom of the bag.
That dust.
At the bottom of the bag of the sunflower seeds. That's what it tastes like to me. It tastes like I ate a whole bag of
I
sunflower
almost
seeds.
said peanut butter, but then I checked myself because no, that's not peanut butter.
it's good though.
Yeah, it is
I
good,
like
but
it.
it tastes like you literally lathered your mouth in sunflower seeds.
It's a little bit sweeter than peanut butter, I think.
Yeah.
How much sugar's in it again?
3 grams.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Which is more sugar than a real peanut butter.
And it's 3 grams of added sugars, so it's obviously they've done it for some sweetening.
Right. And I'm betting, that's more for kids that have peanut allergies.
Right.
So, that.
The flavor's good though. I like that. Yeah, I'd eat it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Sun Butter. Buy Sun Butter in your Hy-Vee organic. Is it in the organic section?
It is.
Or is it just in the
It is.
regular?
Most stores will have it in both organic and normal.
Is it by the peanut butter?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. The almond butters, peanut butters, all
Right
that
on.
jazz.
Okay, so today, guys, I was at the store. There's a particular peanut butter that I like that Hy-Vee does not carry, unfortunately.
We'll work on that.
We're working on that. But anyway,
it comes in chunky.
It's Adam's peanut butter. I like Adam's peanut butter because the ingredients just says peanuts. That's it. There's no added
Doesn't get more
anything.
pure than that.
There's no added anything. And I did get the chunky this time.
That's my guy.
I actually thought of Tim. I was like, I gotta get the chunky.
Yeah.
All right, Tim. But anyway, I was looking at the peanut butter and I glanced over and I saw Wow Butter.
It says you deserve better right on the lid.
Wow Butter. Peanut free Wow Butter. It's creamy. It's simple. It's natural.
What are the ingredients on that?
Well, if it's natural, what is it off the wow tree? Was it a wow bush?
You never know.
I don't know. What is it? Terrible. The wow. We'll
You
just
just never
assume
know what kind of wow effect you're going to get.
We'll just assume it's a wow bush, right? We're gonna pick the berries off the wow bush and make wow butter. So it's safe for school lunch because there is no peanut butter. There's no peanuts in it. 7 grams of protein per serving. Oh, there's 1,000 milligrams of omega-3s in it. That's cool.
Wow.
Well, of course, it's not real, so it's going to be whatever they want
Right.
in it. The ingredients, it's soy. It's toasted soy, pressed soy oil, cane sugar to sweeten it up for kids, naturally, palm oil, and sea salt, which, again, we know sea salt is no better than regular salt. So this is really a man-made product for kids with peanut allergies is what it comes down to. I'm going to bet, I haven't tasted it yet, but I'm going to bet it tastes, oh my gosh, this is like Play-Doh. Like my spoon had trouble.
It looks like you're scooping gelato.
My spoon had trouble getting into it. You know what's weird is the jar is peanut butter colored. It's not a clear jar, I just realized.
Yeah.
It's peanut butter colored jar. It's a brown
Well, yeah,
jar.
what you have on your spoon doesn't match the color of the jar.
No.
Oh, wow.
It's a This stuff's
Oh my
thick.
God.
You could use this as mortar and put some bricks together. It tastes like peanut butter. It tastes like sweet peanut butter to me. Tim can't talk. I think he pasted his mouth shut, which may not be a bad thing.
It's almost got like a pretzel-y
The aftertaste
taste
is
to it.
a little funny to me.
Well, because it's
Not
soy.
bad,
Because it's not real.
No.
True. That's the problem.
It's soy, which you can argue, is soy really good for you? Is it bad for you? And we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Wow Butter. That I'm not a
It's
fan.
not bad, though.
I wouldn't wake up and go, I need some Wow Butter. I hope I get a
It says you
Wow Butter and jelly sandwich.
It's Wow Butter time.
I'd rather have a sun butter sandwich than jelly
Yeah.
sandwich.
Preach.
I may go in search of the Wow Bush though. So it's soy and cane sugar and just oil, right? And some sugar. It's not real. And here's what I would say is if your kid has a peanut allergy, this is a good alternative.
Oh, for sure.
How much sugar is in that again? I didn't read that off. What's the fat, sugar, and protein?
4 grams of sugar, 3 grams of saturated fat, so 15 grams total fat.
Okay.
Same serving size.
2 tablespoons.
Yeah,
How much
2
protein?
7 grams of protein.
Well, actually, the sugar's probably no worse than any other peanut butter. If you guys are going to get peanut butter, I always encourage just get real peanut butter.
Yeah.
Like the only ingredient should be peanuts, maybe some salt. But if you see added sugar, I'll steer clear. There's no need for it.
Right.
Real peanut butter shouldn't be sweet. It should taste like real peanuts. And I like Adams is my favorite. But the best is if you can go to a place that will grind the peanuts for you right in front of you.
Fresh.
That stuff's fabulous. And you should see it separate. Like if you let it sit, especially if it's not in a refrigerator, you should see it separate. So you should have to mix it with the peanut nuts. I've made my own. I just put it in my food processor and just threw a bunch of nuts in and turned it on. And I added some olive oil to help get it started. But if you just run it, it'll go for a while and you look at it like nothing's happening. And all of a sudden the peanut oil starts to come out and then it creams up.
Oh, man.
And it's fabulous. Really good. Really, really good.
That sounds amazing.
Agreed.
It is me. I mean, it's no wow butter.
Although some Hy-Vees do have their own peanut grinders, though. To make
No
peanut
kidding.
butter. Yeah, some do.
Okay, guys, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for listening and tuning in. Please check out our Facebook and our Twitter. We're always putting information out there. Share us. Get us some more listeners. And again, you're listening to Treadmills and Tangents right here on The Answer, 94.5 FM, 1420 AM. You guys have a great Saturday. Enjoy your weekend.
Tune in each Saturday morning with fun banter on what it takes to live a healthier, happier, and more vibrant life in the Big O. Treadmills and Tangents with Coach Aaron Cerrone and his army of wellness warriors.